Hi, welcome. Anyway, I will figure out a proper intro at some point. I'm not sure when though, but I will at some point. Anyway, this video is one of the videos I've been most excited to film ever since I started, and it is a monthly reset. I enjoy these so much. I love watching Olivia reads a lattes, Katie is reading, and a bunch of other booktubers really do them too, and I wanted to have my own go. Yeah. So for preparing for March, mainly what I'm going to be doing in these videos is wrap-ups, TBRs, bullet journal setups, and all those kinds of things, and a bit of maybe organizational things, but I'm not sure what. But mainly those three are definitely going to be included, just because I don't want to do separate videos for TBRs and wrap-ups and all that, and I do want to include a little bit of journaling content because I love to bullet journal. It is such a fun way to have a creative outlet and also being productive, and I adore it. So yeah, without any further ado, I feel like this intro shouldn't be too long because there's really no point to it. It's just welcome and hi, and I don't know what I'm saying. So yeah, let's just start. everybody. So I do want to like mix in both TBRs and wrap-ups in this video, because I feel like making a separate video would, I don't know, I don't want to do that. Like I want it in one video to like appreciate what I watched and then go into a new month with a clean slate and see what else. I don't know, I just wanted it in one video, okay? I don't know what to tell you. But let's just get into everything that I read. I've read a lot of Hemingway books, so yes, and the ones I have mentioned in like previous videos, I won't be giving that big of a synopsis. It'll kind of be very short, and then the ones I haven't mentioned, I'll try to like talk more about them just because it'll save time that way, I guess. I don't know, we'll see. So the first book that I finished is A Farewell to Arms. This is by Ernest Hemingway. This was, I did initially give it 5 stars, but I think I might have to bump it down to a 4.5 kind of vibe, just because I was very much riding the high of the ending and thought it was amazing. And now that I think about it, like I wasn't that invested in the characters throughout the story, but other than that, like they weren't, I wasn't that connected. I didn't feel that attached to them, but I do still appreciate the ending. I think it is very well done. I also think that Hemingway's writing style is extremely good. It is so easy to follow, and it's kind of like surprising, but I like it. I like it a lot. And so that was this one. The next one that I read was Hemingway's For Whom the Bell Tolls. This is a chunker. Oh my god. But I read this one. Yay! This one, I think I gave 4 stars. I did really like it. It does depict the part of war very well, I think. I do think it depicts how the Spanish Civil War and how hard it can be to like continue fighting for something if you're just losing, and a battle that you would literally think you're gonna lose, or like losing hope even if you don't essentially think that, even if you think that what you're fighting for is right, like you just get tired sometimes, like you just don't want to do it anymore, which I get. And like having to trust the differences and like the trust issues that arise between conflict like this, it's just really good. I really liked it, and I gave it 4 stars. I think I already said that. And these next few books I read in a 24-hour reading vlog, so I'm just gonna kind of go through them fairly quickly. We've got Ernest Hemingway, Snows of Kilimanjaro. I love the movie of this, actually. It's got Gregory Peck, I think his name is. The movie is where it's at, honestly, because like it turned the short story into like a 2-hour, or I think it's an hour and a half. I can't remember, but it's into a full-on movie. So that's good. And mainly, the only thing that's good about the movie is Gregory Peck, and Ava Gardner, I think her name is, but yeah, it's great. I liked it. I gave it 3 stars just because like obviously some short stories I liked, some I didn't, or I just kind of went over my head, kind of meh, and then there were some that were extremely good. So the next few books that I read for the 24-hour readathon were these ones. So we've got Icelandic folk legends, we've got Little House of Hidden People, and we've got the Little Book of Icelanders in the Old Days. These were a fun time. It gave a little insight in like the folklore of Iceland and just kind of how hard their history is, just because during the time where these legends kind of like, it's because the people that were living there were under extremely harsh rulers, and they were under extremely harsh circumstances for like, the rulers were very harsh on them. They had to complete certain rules, and they were also like obviously just had a hard time living there. Like they were poor. A lot of them were very poor. To feel like they had some control, they would make these Icelandic folk tales. And also like the things that's said in this book, this one's more like how they used to live. Different rituals they used to do. Not rituals, but like, I don't know, beliefs and kind of mindsets that they had. It was also very interesting. All of them were very interesting. I kind of just want to go back to Iceland again. These are all by Alda Sigmundsdóttir. I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly, but again, I will link these and everything else I mentioned down below, just because I like having it all there in case anyone is interested. But these were so good. They're so short and they're so much fun, and you get a little insight into Iceland. So yeah. And then the last book that I read for that readathon was Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. This is by Patricia C. Word. I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm sorry. But this is basically like a children's version of the movie. And The Phantom Menace has been one of my favorite movies of all time. I think I gave this 3 stars. 3 stars, right? Yeah. I gave this 3 stars. Mainly because like it's very obviously like it's just for kids who've seen the movie and you kind of want to get them to read. So you'll have them read the book version of the movie. I don't know if that makes sense to anyone, but it does to me. So that's what we're sticking with. But I bought this at a secondhand bookstore with one of my best friends, and I'm not gonna get rid of it, and I'm so glad I finally read it. And it is just like, it's my favorite movie, so you know, I read that. That's fun. And because I was still in the Star Wars hype, I still wanted more, I ended up reading Rebel Rising by Beth Revis. This, again, this is very much for Star Wars fans, especially Rogue One fans, which happens to be my favorite Star Wars movie. I adore this with every fiber of my being. I love this. If you haven't seen Rogue One, the Star Wars movie, I don't know why you haven't, because it is the best movie, but I don't think you're gonna like this if you just read it on its own. Like, it doesn't have that much of an impact, but you could definitely like watch it, and then you would really appreciate this book a lot more. But I really did. I really liked it. We are following Jin Erso during the time, basically, that we don't get to see in the movie. Basically, you know how at the start of the movie, she's in a prison? We find out why she's there. We find out her time with Saw, who's like a activist or like an extremist, and how he starts getting more and more paranoid about that. Like, basically her life from the moment her parents are taken, and she's left with this rebel, basically, and she's kind of left alone, and her dealing with that, and her trying to survive in this very, very harsh world, or worlds, I guess. And it is very well done, and I really, really, really like it. And it kind of gives you much more insight into like how she thinks, or what she's thinking, and kind of like just how hard it's been for her, and why she's not very much pro-rebellion, and she's not pro-empire. She's just kind of trying to survive. The next book that I picked up was kind of random. It is Com un Miratge Barbim by Maria Merced Roca. It is a book we had to read in school, and I was looking at it on my shelves, and I realized I have read this, but I don't remember anything about it. So I reread it just to kind of see what it was about, and I gave it 2 stars, mainly because I felt like it was kind of pointless. Like, I don't really get why this is a book, but it's a fun time, I guess. I don't know. It is set in the summer. It's very much a summer book, which I'm pretty sure could have affected why I didn't like it that much, because I'm reading it in the middle of winter. But, you know, it's a fun time. It is about a boy who lives in, like, this village up in the mountains, and then every summer, the people from the city come up and have their summer there. And so he meets this girl and they end up like going out, falling in love, whatever. But it's like him slowly realizing, but it's very much a coming of age novel. It is very much him realizing that maybe she's not the best. It's just, is this really love, or is it just infatuation? Is this gonna last, or what's gonna happen like when she has to go back to her hometown? Like, she's only there for the summer, and just him coming to terms with what's really important, and how he's growing up and things like that. And it's okay. Like, I was kind of surprised that I didn't hate it as much as I remember not liking it when I first read it and blocked out of my memory, but I did really enjoy it this time. So yeah, there's that one. So the next we have another Hemingway book, and it is A Movable Feast. I do think I enjoyed this one the most. I gave it 4 stars though. Yeah, I gave it 4 stars. It's probably like 4.5. I love this. This is so much fun. If you are a fan of just like very much vibes, this is the vibe book, I guess. We follow Hemingway, and this is basically him recounting his life during Paris when he was writing there, and he was kind of poor, but you also like get to see him go to these cafes and write, and how he's friends with all these other very famous writers, and how he kind of like is really impressed with James Joyce, and how he talks to the author of The Little Prince, and how he talks to Scott Fitzgerald. I didn't realize these guys were all friends, or at least they knew each other, and it's very fun to watch and just read about. And they're all in Paris, and they're all having a fun time, and they're all just in Paris writing, and it's kind of fun. I really liked it. I really did enjoy it, and I was very surprised about this. This was so good. But next I did read a couple of very much along the easier route. I read a bunch of picture books, and that is Clarice Bean, That's Me. I read My Uncle is a Hunkle, Says Clarice Bean. I read Clarice Bean, Guess Who's Babysitting, and Clarice, no, What Planet Are You From, Clarice Bean. These are all picture novels. I don't know what they're called. They're like books for kids that are pictures. I read these basically because I wanted to read a different book, and I saw on Goodreads that these were the first books, and then they're like picture books, which I figured out as I read them digitally, and I was like, oh, okay, that's new. I didn't know this. But it was a fun time. Like, I don't hate picture books or anything. I used to love them as a kid. They do get kids reading, even if it's like in the most bizarre way. Like, it's what kids enjoy. They like seeing pictures. Like, I get it. And they're a fun time. Like, this is, I don't know if I mentioned the author. It is Lauren Childs, and she did write all the Charlie and Lola books, which were my childhood. More than Clarice Bean was, but Charlie and Lola, they have a soft spot in my heart. I was very much raised on them and I loved them so much, and so it was very much reminiscent of that kind of style. And basically after reading all those, I read Utterly Me, again by Lauren Child. This one is more of a book, like it is for kids, but it's more of a novel, I guess is what I'm trying to say. In this one we follow Clarice Bean as she has to write a book report, and the book report has to be on a book that the kids have learned something from, and she is obsessed with these spy novels about a girl who's a spy, and she just kind of keeps comparing her life to her idol, I guess, to these book heroines of her, and she is very relatable. Like, I remember when I read this for the first time when I was very young, I related to this character so much, like her having a little brother who she's annoyed at, the parents. It's just like very much, I can very much but I can relate a lot to this character. I just wanted a fun time and I want to revisit. It's very much a comfort book for me. I love it so much, and I also kind of read a few more in this series, which I am planning to get physical copies of because I love them so much, but as of right now I don't own them. I read the ebook version of them. So we've got Clarice Bean Spells Trouble and Clarice Bean Don't Look Now. Now all around I gave kind of like each book 4 stars just because I do think that they're very good at what they're doing, but I do think Clarice Bean Don't Look Now is like 4.5. It is so good. That book is so good. It really delves into like harder topics, darker. I guess darker is very much maybe an exaggeration, but it does go into like themes that I wasn't expecting really, and it is done very well. Like how you really shouldn't judge a book or a person by its cover, and like maybe yes you're sad about something, but like you shouldn't blame it on other people, and how like maybe everything is not what it seems, and maybe you should give people a chance, and also like how to deal with the fact that your best friend might not live right beside you anymore. Like if your best friend moves to a different country, kind of like that feeling, because this book does center around Clarice Bean and learning about all of her worries, and she doesn't know what her biggest worry should be, and she kind of like goes along trying to fumble, and she just keeps getting more and more worried about different things, and it's so well done. I think it is a really well done book, and I think it deserves more credit for that. And finally, the last book that I read was kind of not that good. I'm sorry to say. It is Green Hills of Africa, also by Ernest Hemingway. This follows the same kind of style as A Movable Feast does. Why? Because it's basically in the sense that Ernest Hemingway is telling us a part of like his journey or whatever, a snippet into his life, let's say. But this particular snippet is him going to Africa to hunt animals, which, you know, is not the best, and I didn't enjoy any aspect of it. I thought it was boring. I didn't like the themes. We were on so many hunts, and him kind of getting annoyed that maybe he didn't get the best rhinoceros, which it's not something I really enjoyed reading about. I didn't like it. I always knew this was a side of Hemingway. Like I had seen it in other books that he likes to hunt, but like seeing it explicitly through like saying it was Hemingway doing it, it was really weird. I didn't like it. I just didn't like it. It's not what I like to read about, and I wish I hadn't read it, honestly. But like, I didn't hate it. It's kind of like, objectively, I know that it's probably a good book, and I know objectively like the writing is very good. It's very easy to get into. As like every single thing Hemingway writes, it is very easy to get into, and I do applaud it for that, but I just don't like the themes. I don't like what it's saying. I don't like a lot of what is said in this book, or a lot of the actions that are done in this book, so therefore I gave it a 2 stars. But it's just kind of a bittersweet moment to like end the month on that, and also end by like the books I really wanted to read by Hemingway being that. I probably, like, it pretty much is on my fault. It is on me because I did not look into it that much, and when I kind of heard about and then when I did look into it, I was kind of like, okay, it's about hunting in Africa, like that. It's about him going on a hunting trip on Africa, and I don't know why I thought I would be into it. Like I thought I would kind of like hopefully really like the imagery in it or something, or like enjoy him feeling bad about killing, but like it just, I don't know what I was thinking. I didn't like it though, so it's kind of sad. It's kind of annoying. But yeah, so yeah, let's now just kind of go and pick out. But yeah, that's every book that I read in February. Okay, so I have a few books that I've picked out for this month basically, and I also have the book club picks that I want to read for different book clubs. So starting off for what I want to read in March, I'm so excited. First off, we've got the World Tour Book Club hosted by Emmy and Carolyn. They have this book club where they are trying to read a book from, or is it just Emmy? Now that I think about it, I think I'm getting them confused. It might just be Emmy. I'm not 100%. Just fun. It's a fun time, I guess. And I am not 100% active. The book that we are reading for that, the book club pick. So the book club pick for that club was A Nervous Condition by Tsitsi Dangaranga. I'm not gonna try to pronounce this. All I know is honestly nothing about this book, actually. I am going to go into it extremely blind. I know absolutely nothing about it. It sounds, don't know, we'll see what I think about it. I am just excited to like finally be on this journey of trying to read a book from every country, which is only like 195 books. Like, it should be doable. But yeah, so there's that one. I'm excited. Then we've got the Game of Tomes, which is, I know, 100% hosted by both Carolyn reads and Emmy reads. They're so cute. It's just such a nice book club. I do have 2 months to read this, so it'll probably not get finished this month, but it is Middlemarch by George Eliot. And I, again, know absolutely nothing about this book. I know it's a classic. I know it's like this big. I don't own a copy of it myself, but I know my mom does. And I don't know what else to tell you. I have heard of it. I knew it was a book. I knew it was a classic, but I've never had the inkling of actually picking it up myself. So if that's any indication to anyone, I don't know. I know nothing about it, but I'm excited at some point. It's probably not the classic I would have chosen on myself. I would have never read it on my own. So we'll see what I think about it, because I'm not opposed to classics, but sometimes they can surprise you. I don't know. And then the last book club pick that I am going to read this month is for the Wyverns and Words book club. I have it in my list here. It is the Wyverns and Words book, which is Reaper in the Gates, which is the third book to the Ember in the Ashes quartet, I think it's called. I've started this book years and years ago. Like, I've read the first one and the second one, and then which I flew through, and then this third one I ended up like stopping, like I lost interest in it halfway through there. Mainly my problem with the series was there's a lot of kind of like setting up for what's going to happen, and I feel like we never get to the point. Like, we never get to like an actual moment where it's like, okay, now it's starting. It's all pretty much set up, or our characters trying to get somewhere and nothing ever really happens. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but I do love the characters, but I'm not sure plot-wise if it's the best done, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, it's the third book in that quartet, which we follow Elias and Elia. I do not remember the names for these people, because I read the first and second one years ago. I haven't reread them. I just figured I'd just remember some of what's going on. But I think it's called Elias and Leia, and there's Helena as well. But basically, we are set in like an ancient Rome setting where there's an empire that's taking over everywhere, and like she ends up trying to help the rebels because she wants to get their help to get her brother back. So she ends up infiltrating this military school, which is where our other main character trains, and he kind of wants to ditch. He wants to leave, and then I can't say anymore because would be spoilers, I think. But yeah, it's one of those classic YA book series that has been on BookTube and just the book community in general. That it has been in the YA genre for the longest time, and yeah, I'm excited to like finally have a reason to finish it. And so the next books that I don't actually have it. Where is it? Okay, we're back. Basically, the first book that I want to get done in March is Ruby Redford, Look Into My Eyes by Lauren Child. This is the first book in the Ruby Redford series. I think there's like 6 books in total. Now, the reason I'm reading this is because I read Clarice Bean last month, which I did talk about. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be talking about it at least, which I did talk about. And I do really find those books, and in those book series, like the main character is obsessed with these books about a girl who's a spy, but also like a 12-year-old girl or 13 or something, and that is Ruby Redford. And so the author Lauren Child, who's also the author of Charlie and Lola, which was my childhood, she wrote the book series, and I'm pretty sure this is like for older adults, and it's just been sitting on my shelves for ages, and like rereading Clarice Bean made me want to read these for the first time. So yeah, we've got Look Into My Eyes, and I do also own Take Your Last Breath, so I figured might as well read them both, and we'll see like if I actually read the whole series. Maybe not, I don't know, but definitely I want to get to at least these two because they're the ones I own currently. But yeah, those are the first two, and then another pick is kind of a random one, but I thought it on my shelves for ages and I just wanted to read it properly. I just felt like I wanted to read it. I don't know. Plus the cover was green and I was looking for green cover. I don't know what it is about March. It screams green. So I picked up Lord of the Flies by William Golding. I know this is a classic and I know a lot of Americans, I think, I'm pretty sure, have to read it for high school or whatever. I didn't. We'll see. All I know about it is that it's a bunch of boys who get stranded on an island and have to survive, and I know nothing else really. I think like it turns into mayhem because it's a bunch of young kids, boys, trying to survive. Like, it'll be fun how they do it, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, also a really cool thing is that this is actually annotated by, this copy of it is annotated by my mom. Like, my mom annotated it. I don't know if you can see. I feel like I don't want to show like the beginning, but like she annotated it, so it's gonna be fun to kind of read through it and see what I think about it. But yeah, that is this one. Another book, YA OG book that I've had on my shelves forever and I just want to get to it. I don't know what it was, and I kind of want to get it all read, and it is a YA booktube OG favorite. It's an original of OG of booktube. Like, everyone was very much in love with this, and I personally have only seen the movies, and I knew I loved the movies, and that's when I got the books, and I never actually read the book. This is Ruby Red by Kristen Gear, from the Ruby Red trilogy. This, I'm not expecting to have the best YA plot, or I'm not expecting the best writing. I'm not expecting that it to be a literature masterpiece, but I do want it to just be a fun time, because I remember the movies, again, not critically acclaimed movies, but they were fun, they were fine, they were a fun time to forget and enjoy a little bit of romance and enjoy some time traveling stuff. So I have not read, it's been a long time since I've seen the movies, but from what I remember, it is about a girl who's in this family where her cousin is raised to be, I don't know, I'm pretty sure her parents are dead, I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think so. And so in her family, like, they each have, some of them, people in the family have the special gene that allows them to go back into time, and they have this whole society which is like keeping time on track, like what things are supposed to, certain things are supposed to happen, making sure nothing changes, or making sure like the slight change does things. So like her cousin has been brought up her whole life to like be the next person in the family who can time travel, and so she's been preparing for it the whole time, she's been studying up on it. So but when like she hits the age of when she's gonna start doing it, it turns out our main girl here, who I don't remember the name of, what's her name? Gwen. Our main girl, Gwen, she goes and she turns out she's got the gene, but she's never like been trained for it or anything. She doesn't, and she gets partnered up with this handsome guy who's called Gideon, I'm pretty sure, and yeah, things go from there. It's a fun time. I'm not expecting the best thing ever, but I'm expecting a fun time, and I really hope it delivers, and I might even binge the other books in that trilogy. And I also I'm kind of interested in reading Cloud in the Sky, because I know Emmy from Reads, because I know Emmy really likes that book. I know Emma. Is her name Emma or Emmy? I'm pretty sure it's Emma. Why am I calling her Emmy? Anyway, but I'm pretty sure Emma also really likes another book by this author, and I'm kind of interested, not gonna lie. And so the last book that I'm putting on my TBR for this month is going to be Sally Rooney. Sally Rooney's Normal People. This has been very hyped. It is very well beloved or hated, depends on which spectrum you're in. I happen to have seen people love and both hate this. Like, it is very controversial. But it's very polarizing, and I know some people love it, some people hate it. And yeah, I want to know why. I know my mom really likes these, and I want to support our Irish authors. If you don't know, I'm Irish, so that's why. But yeah, I want to see what the hype is about. I want to see what I think about it. I do own her other books, but I figured I might as well start with the OG, the one that started it all. And I only know that it's kind of like her romance. Best described as, it's obviously literary fiction, but it is a romance, and it is about two people, Connell and Marianne, who kind of like end up having a relationship, but it's kind of toxic, and I have seen people cry reading this, so hopefully I might have the same reaction. And I also know that Sally Rooney writes without
quotation marks. So that's gonna be hard for me. We'll see what I think about it. But yeah, let's
I hope you guys really enjoyed this video, and feel free to comment down below, what do you guys do for the monthly resets? Do you have anything you do? What have you read this month? What are you planning to read in March? I would love to know, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!